Bienvenidos al club. Hoy os traemos una entrega especial y es que, siguiendo la línea de intentar hablar con periodistas estadounidenses, hoy os traemos a uno de los grandes, uno de los que más sabe de la NBA, en concreto de los Cleveland Cavaliers y de Lebron James. Hoy hablamos con Joe Vardon. Con él charlamos de la situación actual de la NBA y, por supuesto, de los Cleveland Cavaliers y de LeBron James, incluso también de Kyrie Irving. Aquí comienza el capítulo 246 de NBAdictos. Y como os decía, es una charla que mantuve ayer, martes 12 de mayo, con Joe Vardon. Bueno, ya lo conoceréis todos previamente en cleveland.com, desde hace ya algún tiempo en The Athletic, tanto escribiendo para la web, ya sabéis, una de las webs de referencia si os queréis informar de deporte en general y de NBA en particular, y que tiene también con Sam Amick, otro de los periodistas de The Athletic, un podcast llamado Tampering, que os recomiendo encarecidamente. Una charla con Joe que estuvo muy bien y que os voy a dejar en versión original. Primero vais a escuchar la versión original, más o menos 37 minutos, así que si queréis saltar directamente a la versión doblada, iros hasta el minuto 39 de este audio y ahí empezaréis a escuchar la versión doblada. Mientras tanto, os dejamos con la charla original tal cual la tuvimos ayer con Joe Vardon. Joe Vardon is a senior writer for The Athletic and also co-host of The Tampering, an NBA podcast with Sam Amick, also from The Athletic. There is not many people that know so much about the league, and most important, he knows how to communicate his knowledge. Welcome to NBAdictos, Joe, and thanks for accepting our invitation. It's an honor having you in the show.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking of me, and hello to everybody in Spain.
First of all, we have to speak about the coronavirus and the NBA suspended season. In this moment, there are more than 82,000 deaths in the US. The most important thing, how are you and your family, and how are you doing there in Cleveland and Ohio?
Well, thank you for asking. I'm fine. My family's fine. We are healthy and safe. It's been easy to just kind of hunker down here on the west side of Cleveland, Ohio. Which is in the sort of the Midwest part of the country, but everybody is healthy, everybody's safe. How about you?
It's okay. The problems here in Spain are mainly in Madrid and in Barcelona, the biggest cities. I live in Galicia, so it's hard to stay at home, but it's what we have to do. We are now starting to get out and open all that stuff little by little.
Good. That's good to hear. I know it was scary there in Spain for a while, and it is still scary here in the United States, but it's also if you're lucky enough to have a job that pays well and a nice house and all those things, it can be easy to just kind of stay away from this stuff. So I'm glad to hear you're doing okay.
Talking about basketball, we all heard about Adam Silver's conference with the players. Where do you think we are now? Near to resume the season? What do you think is the most likely scenario?
Well, it depends on what you mean by near. I think we're probably still 2 months away.
Most probable.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I think that there is a good chance that the NBA will finish its season somehow. I'm not sure if that means a completion of the remaining regular season games and then a playoffs, or just starting the playoffs now and taking the top 8 teams on each side. There are no ties. No one is tied for 8th place, so they could do this. and it would be fine. I think it's going to take, like I said, at least 2 months to get that done, not to mention a training camp to get the players back in shape of at least a month. So there's certainly going to be some time that's going to run off between now and whenever the NBA comes back. But I think there's two things to keep in mind. One is other major professional sports, both in the United States and around the world, are beginning to play again. Everybody knows about European football getting started in Germany again, and then here in the United States, Major League Baseball is taking some significant steps towards playing again. The PGA is going to be back soon, and our auto car racing circuit is going to be back soon. So those are all tentatively positive signs. It would be hard for the NBA not to play if those other leagues do in fact return. But the thing that you have to keep in mind, the other thing, I said there were two that you have to watch for. The other one is just that the virus is not contained. I know that people read about what's going on in the United States, and we are beginning to try and reopen our economy, and people are starting to go back out, and there is no vaccine, and the virus was and is still spreading. So that's dangerous, and if the virus spreads at a dangerous level, then that would lead to probably another shutdown of everything, which certainly would include sports. So, two big things to take a look at there.
You have to forgive me, but I also listen WatchPod. Rachel Nichols said there last week that there is a certain level of risk that you have to be ready to assume. I suppose it means a certain number of deaths happening in the society meanwhile you resume the competition. How do you think that the NBA, always very sensitive with all that stuff, and aware about the peer consequences of their acts, is going to address that?
No, I think that's right. That's certainly right. Until there's a vaccine, which could be, anywhere from a few months. We're talking about the fall. Up until January, or it could take years. If you are going back out into society, you are accepting some level of risk. That's just how it is. Later today, I'm going to go get a new pair of running shoes, and I'll have 2 masks on, and I'll have wipes, and I'll have hand sanitizer, and all that good stuff. But there is still going to be some level of risk just for doing that, even though I'm going to be covered head to toe. And the same remains for any return to sports. There is just no realistic way to totally, I guess, I don't know if inoculates the word. It's impossible to keep the virus from getting into a professional sports league. I mean, it's literally in the White House in Washington, D.C.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that there would be a safer place than the White House, and yet it's gotten there. It's gotten near the president. So yes, you are accepting some level of risk. If we can figure out how to test properly and test often, I think you can mitigate that risk fairly simply. And then you also have to keep in mind that these players, virtually none of them, not totally, but virtually none of them are in that group that is more susceptible to the serious part of the virus, which is the disease COVID-19. There are a few exceptions, and we can talk about them if you want. But by and large, it's a healthy NBA population. Yeah. So their concern would be spreading the disease to family members and friends who are not in that least vulnerable group, but among themselves, the mortality rate's probably 0.
Yeah, there are professional athletes and with medical staff around them. There was a debate when back in March, it seems like 2 years ago, when the season was suspended. Some teams tested all their players, like the Lakers, for example, and other teams, like the Warriors, said we don't have test enough for the regular regular population, so we are not going to test our healthy athletes. One of the issues that we have to solve if we want to play again is the issue of the test and what to do if there is a positive. For example, if Lebron James, that is one of the players that said quite loud that he wants to play, if Lebron tested positive, we have to see what to do with that. We stop the league. We quarantine him or all the team. Shaq said the other day that he thinks it's better to cancel the season and prepare to the next one, because if this season resumes, the champion will have a huge asterisk, for example, for things like that. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a lot there. I think first you're asking me the idea of what happens if somebody does test positive. What do you do about that? And then I think you're asking me, do I think that the league should try to finish this or just go ahead and cancel it? Is there anything else that you're asking there?
Yeah, I normally open too many.
No, it's okay. It's great. I just want to make sure I have it all. Yes. Okay. So yeah, I think that it's very easy to set this up in a way where you keep playing if somebody does test positive. I think that if you restart the league, I think you have to understand that that somebody will test positive and they will have to sit down for 2 weeks. But if you're testing every player every day, it's going to be easy not only to sit that player down as soon as he tests positive, but I think it would be easy to catch it and keep it from spreading throughout the league to the point where you'd have to shut it down. I think that you can do that. I think that if you needed to, you could even expand rosters, allow teams to carry some G League players if you needed to do that. I think it can be done. I do. I think it's worth trying. I think that there is, there are some financial reasons to continue or to try to get this done. There's going to be the NBA is already taking some huge hits financially this year because of various reasons, and then if they do not play any playoff games, now you have these two major television networks who are paying you $2.6 billion US dollars a year to show these games, and most of what they're paying is for the playoffs. So the league would have to make good on that. It's not, the number isn't 2.6 billion, but it's a large number, and the networks aren't just going to forfeit that for nothing. So there would be some future ramification there. I also think, of course, I understand from LeBron's perspective that he wants to play. Of course, he's 35 years old. His team is as good as any in the NBA right now. You don't just get that many chances like this to try and finish it. So yeah, I understand.
What seems sure is that the draft is going to be postponed, free agency too, and it seems that whatever it happens with this season, next season it's likely to start in December.
Yeah, I really think so. That really seems to be the case, and I think there's two reasons for that. One, I think the NBA really does expect, I don't know if expect is the right word, but the NBA is really trying to play. They're trying to play. Okay. So they're going to play, but they're not going to be able to do this until July or August or September, whatever. So if you do that and the finals are in August or they are in September, realistically, there's too much work to be done to then turn around and restart a new season a month after you finish the old one. That's not going to work. And then the other thing is, sort of regardless of whether or not the NBA can finish now, the way things stand today, where there is no vaccine today, there just isn't. We don't know when one's coming, but there is not one today. So there is a very real fear in the United States, at least. Presumably there could be one in your country and many others, that COVID, or the the virus over here is going to spike again at the same time that our flu also starts to increase again, and that's going to be a really big and bad test for our medical system. It's going to be very serious, and so it would just be wise from an NBA perspective to not be trying to start a new season and have that get messed up because of the sort of the double spread there of these two, seasonal viruses. So waiting until Christmas or New Year, something like that, when hospitals are able to at least understand what this looks like and prepare for it. January and February are terrible months for the flu here in the United States, but just being able to have a little bit more time to prepare for that makes sense.
Let's see. We will see what happens with the season. Let's talk about Cleveland. We'll talk about LeBron later. How do you see these new Caps? What are you expecting there for the future of the team?
Well, I don't have any expectations for them. They're trying to totally rebuild their franchise in the wake of LeBron leaving for the Lakers, which is now 2 seasons ago. And these first 2 seasons without LeBron have been disasters. There's no doubt about that. Very, very, very few positives. Can certainly count on one hand the number of positives that have happened since LeBron left. And so I think you can be reasonably happy about the development of Colin Sexton. I think he's okay. And, where they go from here remains to be seen. I mean, they made this trade for Andre Drummond. They gave up nothing for him. They certainly can he's got a player option for a bunch of money. It would be unfathomable, really, for him to turn that down, given the current climate with uncertainty related to the disease, and then also just how basketball is kind of moving away from centers. It would be interesting to see a year of Drummond and Kevin Love playing together. If they keep Kevin, he was unhappy for most of the year. Now he seems a little bit better. And I think that in the very, very early stages of this, they seem to be happy with JB Bickerstaff, who got to coach for 11 games this year before the postponement of the season. So hard to say I have any real expectation for them. I don't want to say that they are trending up. I think they put out some of the fires on their roof that was burning, but I think that it would be wise at this point to temper any enthusiasm.
And we have to talk about LeBron. Joe, I have to come out of the closet. How can I say it in a smooth way? Let's say I'm not the biggest fan of Lebron James, okay?
All right.
So knowing that, you can be hard on me with your answers as you wish.
Okay.
We saw LeBron growing up with the Caps, taking them to the NBA Finals. Then we saw him leaving with the decision and all the hate he left in Ohio. Then he came back. He finally won a championship there. And then he left again. How is he seen in Cleveland now?
Yeah, I think it's a much more positive view of LeBron now, and simply it's because he won the city a championship. No major professional sports team in Cleveland had won one since 1964, before the Cavs did it in 2016. There's simply nothing you can say to argue against the way LeBron played here during his second stint. Those 4 seasons, he was fantastic almost all of the time. His final season here in 2018, he played in literally every single game the Cavs had, both regular and postseason. That counts to 104 games. He played like a most valuable player the last month and a half after the front office traded half of the roster. He hit 2 game-winning shots in the playoffs. He played every minute of Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals to beat the Celtics and get the Cavs into yet another finals. That Cavs team was not very good. had no real business being in the finals, and of course he got them there, and before it kind of all fell apart. So I think that it's just there's much more appreciation of LeBron now than there was when he left the first time. And also he's really reached out to the community here in Northeast Ohio. He's got some education initiatives in his hometown, which is about an hour south of Cleveland, that really have endeared him to the public at large. I think people were still upset to some degree, but much more understanding, and he certainly left on better terms this time.
What is clear is that James changed the game in one way. Now the players want to play and win with his rivals instead of doing it against them. In terms of legacy, do you think that in 20 years, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, for example, will be seen as we see now Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird?
Well, I would put LeBron ahead of all those guys, and then Durant. I'm not sure if Durant probably fits somewhere in there, but probably towards the back of that group. I think that when you are trying to place LeBron somewhere, I think you're placing him next to or 1 centimeter behind one other guy, and that's Michael Jordan. LeBron is the only player in NBA history to take 2 teams to 4 consecutive finals. He's the only player to do that. He's the first player since Bill Russell's Celtics in the 1960s to go to 8 straight finals at all. And that's LeBron. I mean, not even Michael could do that. And yes, the finals record is not what you would hope. Certainly, it doesn't compare to Michael's or to Kobe's. But circumstances were different. I think that there's real cases to be made defending him and his losses in the finals in every year, but the year that they lost to Dallas, his first year in Miami. That one's a black mark. Otherwise, it's all there. And the way he's played in regular seasons. He's just unstoppable in almost every way, shape, and form. And I just think it's a 2-person conversation when it comes to LeBron.
Mm-hmm. I disagree with that. I think
I hear
it's not my favorite player, but I think that Michael Jordan is the best, and there is a huge gap between the next. And then my favorite player, Magic Johnson, will be there. But going to the numbers, if we look, the number of playoff series won against teams with 50 wins or more, we see that Kobe won 24, Jordan 20, Duncan 18, Magic 13, Bird 10, and James 9. I mean, it's not that I'm going to say that LeBron James is a bad player or anything, but the East Conference in the LeBron James years is not as good as it was the West Conference of the East the East Conference, whether in the 90s or in the 80s. This links to the next question I was going to ask you. In this social media era, it seems that everything has to be black or white. I mean, if you don't say that LeBron is the GOAT, it's like you are saying that he's a shitty player. And and if you my main problem with LeBron is not with LeBron, is with his hardcore fans, what I call LeBroniers. I read that in the US they call them bronsexuals. It's like all the credit is on LeBron, and he's like playing along with all that shitty players and all his merit. That kinds of is like, okay, he's a huge player. He improved a lot, and I recognize all the improvement he made in his game. But there are other players playing with him, also All-Stars, also Hall of Famers, and it seems that we have to go into one extreme to the other.
Well, I think I think a lot of that stems from his last year here. And I think, again, you need to kind of take a look at what the roster was like that the Cavs had when you went into the postseason. I mean, you're talking about guys like Larry Nance Jr. and Jordan Clarkson, Rodney Hood, Jeff Green. You know, yes, Kevin Love was on the team. He struggled at times. But he would be, I mean, he was the only other guy really that was even an all-star, that had any all-star appearances at all. Mm-hmm. And you certainly didn't have anybody else, top to bottom, that you would ever consider great, true greatness. And then you have to look at what he had around him his first 11 years. I can't even remember now. Mm-hmm. Or no, his first 7 years in Cleveland, before he left for Miami. I mean, that team that he took to the finals in 2007 just didn't have it. I mean, they didn't have it. They did not have anybody. I mean, guys that are, have been out of the league for years, mm-hmm. that were on that team. And so I think that's where that narrative comes from. And yes, there are times where, media reports, fan reaction does play into that. And yes, it can rub teammates the wrong way. But, I mean, you have to look at then, talk about the 2015 finals with the Golden State Warriors. Kevin Love had been hurt since the first round of the playoffs. And Kyrie Irving broke his knee in game one of the finals. And after that, LeBron, basically with guys like Timofey Mozgov and Matthew Dellavedova, pushed the Warriors to 6 games. They won the next 2. I mean, that series really hinged, kind of hung in the balance there, seeing what would happen in game 4. I mean, it could have gone either way. And, I mean, LeBron just didn't have any kind of supporting cast the way that the Warriors had over there. So, I mean, I think that this is all fair. And I also, I was talking about this with a friend the other day who was telling me that hands down Michael Jordan is better. I'm actually not. I believe personally that LeBron is the superior player, but it was Michael's intangibles that kind of that makes him ahead of LeBron. Mm-hmm. But I'm not passionate about it. Mm-hmm. I can make the case for LeBron because I've spent my career covering him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, you can poke holes in the record, and I mean, you're talking about wins against teams with good records. So I mean, what's that tell you? That his playoff opponents are weak. That the road to the finals is was not crowded for him, but I mean, to make it each and every year, I mean, it's unprecedented. Mm-hmm. And then the finals record itself is bad. I mean, 3-5 is bad.
3-6. 3-6.
That's something they have to deal with for sure.
3-6, eh?
Is it 3-6 now?
Yeah.
Has he been to 9? Oh, that's right, because that's right, because he went to 8 straight, and then there was the 1 in 07. So that's right, yeah, 3-6. That's bad. Sure is.
Now he's in LA, LeBron. He's 35. He has 3 more years on his contract. Do you think he's going to end his career there? And Repolete, one of our followers, wants to know if you think that he will play with Bronny in the NBA, and if you think that Bronny will play in the NCAA or directly at a professional level with his father.
My goodness, this guy must be a preferred customer to be able to get in all those questions. Okay, so I mean, who knows? So I'll take the position, as I have for a while, that LeBron will end his career in Los Angeles. The family loves it there, loves it. Absolutely, they love every part of living in Los Angeles. LeBron has embraced being a Laker. He has made it the final part of his legacy. Yes, he does have designs of one day playing with his son. but a lot has to kind of happen for that. And that includes LeBron Jr. being drafted into the NBA as a pretty much after 1 year, and that rule may change before he even gets there. But Jr. has to be good enough for that, and I don't know that he is. I'm not saying that he isn't. I know that he was a freshman in high school this year, so that for your listeners, that means that was his first year in high school, and I know he came off the bench. He was on a good team. It's true, but he wasn't even a starter, and I think there were some minor questions about his game. I mean, is he a good player? Yes, he absolutely is. Does he have the supreme genes to grow into a very big body and be really athletic and play at a very high level? Yes, he does. That may very well happen, and that'll be great things for Bronny Jr. But what if he doesn't grow? What if he ends up getting the height genes of his mom, who's not as tall? Then he's a good player, but with skills that might be a little bit behind some of the more elite guard level players. So I just think there's a lot to happen. I think some of the excitement about Bronny Jr. going straight to the NBA or getting there right away has been tempered, and it's been tempered by the family, which I appreciate. They used to talk about that before Bronny got into high school, and now that he's there, they're saying let's let him be a high school kid, and let's just let him be a good brother and get his homework done, and
I think that
we'll see.
I think that they are doing well with that, because all the sons of former NBA players have more pressure and more eyes on them. In the case of the son of Lebron James, it's going to be a huge pressure on him.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. Huge pressure on him. And Bronny's team, because obviously he goes to school in Los Angeles. Bronny's team played against his dad's high school in Columbus, Ohio, and LeBron Sr. went to high school at a private school in Akron, and that team went to Columbus, which is about 2 hours south of Cleveland, and the arena was packed. And LeBron flew up from Miami, where the Lakers had played the night before, to watch the game, and just the obvious pressure that Bronny would be under was just incredible, and yeah, I mean it really was, and so they I think that is just one of many examples as to why they would be so careful with him to do this right.
Just to end, I want to ask you about Kyrie Irving. You also saw Kyrie a lot of years there in Cleveland, and I always thought that he was the most talented player in the East Conference, but after 2016 summer, he kind of changed. We all know how he left the Cavs, his, let's say, strange seasons in Boston, how he left the Celtics, and all that happened in Brooklyn this season. I have a theory based in zero facts and in not knowing Irving at all. I think that something changed in Kyrie in 2016 after he knocked down that three. And then all the people get the credit to LeBron and his block. Tell me, Joe, how crazy am I?
Pretty crazy, but you've been showing that to me throughout this entire interview. No, I think listen, Kyrie certainly is to be honest, and I've said this before, with all due respect to LeBron. Kyrie actually is my favorite player to watch with the ball in his hands in the whole NBA. And I don't think that I certainly, even if you asked him about credit for what happened in 2016, he knows that everyone credits him with the single greatest shot, not only in franchise history, in Cavaliers history, but one of the absolute greatest shots in NBA history. Mm-hmm. He knows that, and he is widely credited with that. It was not that so much as the other ways that LeBron outshined him that really bothered him. The way in which media would gravitate towards LeBron to discuss either things that were happening on the team, where LeBron could serve as a spokesman for what was happening. Kyrie resented that, and certainly he also resented when something would happen outside of the Cavs, outside of the NBA, outside of sports, something political. Mm-hmm. We would all go to LeBron to talk to him about it, and Kyrie just felt like he should have had a say too. He felt that LeBron had too much sway over some hirings inside the Cavs organization and just sort of how the team was run, and he just wanted away from that. And so I don't think that Kyrie's wanting to get away from LeBron had almost anything to do with what happened in 2016. It was about all this other stuff. And it was also, we have to be honest, it was about the way LeBron treated him, or the way that Kyrie felt LeBron treated him. Mm-hmm. It wasn't great. They had some, they struggled. They struggled. Mm-hmm. And so, and LeBron certainly has a side to this story as well, that Kyrie was difficult. And Kyrie actually apologized last year for the way he behaved. So maybe LeBron was right. But at the time, there was some friction there, and Kyrie had just decided he'd had enough.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes we forget that the players are not just athletes; they also are persons, and they have their needs, their fears, their insecurities. And well, in your last episode of the Tampering, you and Sam spoke with Rich Kleiman. He talked about Kevin Durant. There's something about that in Durant too. I'm waiting for The Victory Machine, the book from Ethan Strauss, from The Athletic too. And there's also something about that in those Warriors.
Yeah, I think so. I think that it is hard. It especially in this day and age, but we're learning this now. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys in Spain are watching this documentary about the Chicago Bulls called The Last Dance. Everybody. I know it's on Netflix.
Everybody.
Globally. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's all we're watching here in the United States. And they're showing you, even then, before there was anything called social media, mm-hmm. How hard and how draining this is to do, to be that good for that long. Michael had to quit twice over this. Just 3 times going to the finals, had to quit. Too much pressure. I mean, argue against me on that. I mean, mm-hmm. the documentary is showing you how worn down he was at the end of those 3 years. So in the Warriors case, they made it a 5-year run, and 4 with Durant. But my goodness, by the end of that 4th year with him, I mean, they were all at wit's end. They were ready to kill each other. And that's mm-hmm. just how it is. I think you could say there was some of that in Cleveland as well, but and I think in a way that's what makes what LeBron has done so remarkable about making 8 straight finals, that he was able to endure that pressure for 8 consecutive years. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a hard thing to do, and certainly the Warriors felt that as well.
We almost managed to have the whole interview without talking about The Last Dance.
Yeah,
that at the end, because everybody is talking about it. It's a great documentary, and we are waiting for the end next week. We are waiting for the
coming up.
Thank you very much, Joe. I stolen 10 minutes more than we previously speak. Sorry for that. I hope you were comfortable, and this is your house.
Oh yeah, this was great. It was. I had a great time. Had a great time doing it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ahí teníais la charla en versión original con Joe Vardon. Ahora vamos a ofreceros la versión doblada para que tengáis todo en el mismo programa. Así que, nada, esperemos que la disfrutéis. Os dejamos con la versión doblada de esta entrevista con Joe Vardon. Tampering, Joe Vardon es escritor senior de Athletic, también copresenta de Tampering, podcast NBA con Sam Amick, también de Athletic. No hay mucha gente que sepa tanto como él sobre la liga y, más importante, sabe cómo comunicar su conocimiento. Bienvenido a NBAdictos, Joe, y gracias por aceptar nuestra invitación. Es un honor tenerte en el programa. Gracias por invitarme y haber pensado en mí, y hola a todo el mundo en España. En primer lugar, tenemos que hablar del coronavirus y la temporada NBA suspendida. En este momento hay más de 82.000 muertos en los Estados Unidos. Lo más importante, ¿cómo estáis tú y tu familia y cómo estáis en Cleveland y Ohio? How are you doing there in Cleveland and Ohio?
Well, thank you for asking. I'm fine. My family's fine. We are healthy and safe.
Gracias por preguntar. Estoy bien, mi familia está bien, estamos sanos y salvos. Ha sido fácil refugiarse en la zona oeste de Cleveland, Ohio, que está en la zona del medio oeste. Todo el mundo está sano y bien. ¿Qué tal tú?
Everybody is healthy. Everybody's safe. How about you?
It's okay. Bien, los problemas en España se han concentrado sobre todo en Madrid y Barcelona, las ciudades más grandes. Yo vivo en Galicia, es duro quedarse en casa, pero es lo que tenemos que hacer. Estamos ahora empezando a salir y a reabrir poco a poco. We are now starting to get out and open all that stuff little by little.
Good, that's good to hear. I know it was scary there in Spain for a while.
Es bueno oír eso. Sé que ha sido espantoso ahí durante una temporada, sigue siendo espantoso aquí en Estados Unidos, pero también si tienes la suerte de tener un buen trabajo, con un buen sueldo, una buena casa y todas esas cosas, puede ser fácil mantenerse alejado. Me alegro de saber que tú estás bien.
I'm glad to hear you're doing okay.
Talking about basketball, we all heard about, hablando de baloncesto, todos hemos sabido de la charla de Adam Silver con los jugadores. ¿Dónde crees que estamos ahora? ¿Cerca de reanudar la temporada? ¿Qué crees que es más probable que pase?
Well, it depends on what you mean by near.
Bueno, depende de lo que entiendas por cerca. Creo que aún nos faltan como 2 meses. Más probable. Sí, creo que hay muchas opciones de que la NBA termine su temporada de alguna manera. No sé si eso significa completar los partidos que quedan de temporada regular y después los playoffs, o empezar los playoffs ahora mismo y coger los 8 mejores equipos de cada conferencia. Nadie está empatado en el 8º puesto, así que podrían hacer eso y estaría bien.
No one is tied for 8th place, so they could do this, and it would be fine. I think it's going to take, like I said, at least 2 months to get that done.
Creo que va a costar por lo menos 2 meses volver. Hay que tener en cuenta el training camp para que vuelvan en forma.
So there's certainly going to be some time that's going to run off between.
Así que desde luego va a pasar un tiempo desde ahora hasta que vuelvan a jugar. Hay que tener en cuenta 2 cosas. Las grandes ligas profesionales, tanto en Estados Unidos como en otros locales, en otros países como Europa, están volviendo. Las ligas europeas, la PGA, la NASCAR, incluso la Major League Baseball.
Towards playing again. The PGA is going to be back soon, and our auto car racing circuit is going to be back soon. So those are all tentatively positive signs.
Son todos signos positivos y va a ser duro, va a ser difícil que la NBA no vuelva a jugar. Pero hay que tener en cuenta, decía que había 2 cosas que tener en cuenta. La otra es que el virus no está contenido. Sé que la gente está leyendo acerca de lo que sucede en Estados Unidos. Estamos intentando volver a abrir nuestra economía y la gente está volviendo a salir, pero no hay vacuna y el virus se sigue extendiendo. Es peligroso. Si el virus se extiende de una manera peligrosa, habría que cerrar de nuevo todo. Y eso incluye ya los deportes. Dos cosas importantes que tener en cuenta. Me tienes que perdonar, Joe, pero también escucho el WokePod. Rachel Nichols dijo allí que hay cierto nivel de riesgo que hay que estar preparados para asumir. Supongo que un cierto número de muertes sucediendo mientras reanudas la competición. ¿Cómo crees que la NBA, siempre sensible con estos temas y consciente de las consecuencias reputacionales y de imagen de sus actos, va a encararlo? And aware about the peer consequences of their acts, is going to address that?
No, I mean that's right. That's certainly right. Until there's a vaccine.
Eso es así, desde luego eso es así. Hasta que haya una vacuna, lo que podría suceder en unos meses, otoño o incluso enero, o podría tardar años, si vas a volver a la sociedad, vas a tener que aceptar algún nivel de riesgo. Eso es así. Luego voy a ir a comprarme un nuevo par de zapatillas para correr. Me voy a poner 2 mascarillas, guantes, tengo gel hidroalcohólico y todo eso. Pero va a seguir habiendo algún nivel de riesgo simplemente por salir. Y voy a estar cubierto de los pies a la cabeza.
But there is still going to be some level of risk just for doing that, even though I'm going to be covered head to toe.
Y lo mismo para cualquier regreso deportivo. No hay manera realista de mantener el virus 100% alejado de una liga de deportes profesional. Está literalmente dentro de la Casa Blanca, en Washington DC, y no puedo imaginar que pueda haber un lugar más seguro. Y aún así, ha llegado allí y cerca del presidente.
From getting into a professional sports league. I mean, it's literally in the White House in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that there would be a safer place than the White House, and yet it's gotten there. It's gotten near the president.
Así que sí, hay que aceptar cierto nivel de riesgo. Si podemos encontrar la manera de hacer test de la manera adecuada y con frecuencia, creo que podemos mitigar esos riesgos. Y hay que recordar que estos jugadores, no todos ellos, pero la mayoría no están en los grupos de riesgo a los que les afecta más el COVID-19. Hay algunas excepciones y podemos hablar de ellas si quieres, pero la NBA es una población sana.
More susceptible to the serious part of the virus, which is the disease COVID-19. There are a few exceptions, and we can talk about them if you want, but by and large, it's a healthy NBA population.
Su preocupación sería contagiar la enfermedad a familiares y amigos que no estén en ese grupo menos vulnerable. Pero entre los jugadores NBA la mortalidad seguramente sea cero.
The mortality rate's probably zero.
Son atletas profesionales, con los staff médicos a su alrededor. Hubo un debate en marzo, Joe, que parece que fue hace 2 años, cuando se suspendió la temporada. Algunos equipos le hicieron test a todos sus jugadores, como los Lakers, por ejemplo, y otros equipos como los Warriors se negaron al no haber test suficientes para la población en general, diciendo que no le iban a hacer el test a sus atletas sanos. Uno de los temas que tenemos que resolver si vamos a jugar de nuevo es el tema de los test y qué hacer si hay un positivo. Por ejemplo, si Lebron James, que es uno de los jugadores que ha dicho bastante alto que quiere jugar, si Lebron da positivo, tenemos que ver qué hacer con eso. ¿Paramos la liga? ¿Le ponemos en cuarentena a él o a todo el equipo? Shaq dijo el otro día que es mejor cancelar la temporada y prepararse para la siguiente, y que si la temporada se reanudaba, el campeón tendría un asterisco enorme por cosas como esa. ¿Qué opinas? For example, if Lebron James, that is one of the players that said quite loud that he wants to play, if Lebron tested positive, we have to see what to do with that. We stop the league. We quarantine him or all the team. Shaq said the other day that he thinks it's better to cancel the season and prepare to the next one. Because if this season resumes, the champion will have a huge asterisk, for example, for things like that. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a lot there.
Bueno, creo que hay muchas cosas ahí. Primero me preguntas qué pasaría si alguien da positivo y qué hacemos con eso. Y también me preguntas si yo creo que la liga se debe a reanudar o si deberíamos cancelarla. ¿Me preguntas algo más? Sí, normalmente abro demasiados temas.
No, it's okay.
Está bien. Solo me quería asegurar de tenerlo todo. Ok, creo que es fácil organizar esto de una manera en la que si alguien da positivo, sigas jugando. Creo que si reinicias la liga, tienes que ser consciente de que alguien va a dar positivo y va a tener que apartarse durante 2 semanas. Pero si le haces test a todos los jugadores todos los días, Va a ser fácil no solo apartar a ese jugador en cuanto dé positivo, sino detectarlo a tiempo y evitar que lo contagie por toda la liga hasta llegar al punto de tener que suspender de nuevo. Creo que se puede hacer eso. Creo que se podrían ampliar las plantillas, permitir a los equipos llevar jugadores de la Liga de Desarrollo. Creo que se puede hacer. Creo que merece la pena intentarlo. Creo que hay motivos económicos para intentar hacerlo. La NBA ya se ha llevado varios golpes económicos esta temporada por diversos motivos, y si no se juega ningún partido de playoffs,
there's going to be the NBA is already taking some huge hits financially this year because of various reasons, and then if they do not play any playoff games now.
Hay dos grandes cadenas de televisión que pagan $2.600 millones al año para emitir los partidos, y mucho de lo que pagan es por los playoffs. Así que la liga tiene que hacer algo. No van a perder 2.600 millones, pero sí una cantidad enorme. Las cadenas no van a dar ese dinero por nada, así que habrá futuras ramificaciones ahí.
For nothing, so there would be some future ramification there.
También entiendo el punto de vista de Lebron para querer jugar, por supuesto. Tiene 35 años, tiene un equipo tan bueno como cualquier otro en la NBA ahora mismo. No tienes muchas oportunidades así que sí, lo entiendo. Lo que parece seguro, Joe, es que el draft se va a posponer, la agencia libre también. Lo que parece es que pase lo que pase en esta temporada, la temporada que viene es probable que empiece en diciembre. It's likely to start in December.
Yeah, I really think so. That really seems to be the case, and I think there's two reasons for that.
Sí, eso creo. Ese parece que va a ser el caso, y creo que hay dos razones para ello. Una es que la NBA no sé si está esperando jugar, pero al menos sí lo está intentando. Van a jugar, pero no van a poder hacerlo hasta julio, agosto, septiembre o cuando sea. Así que si haces eso y las finales son en agosto o en septiembre, siendo realistas, hay demasiado trabajo que hacer como para terminar y empezar una nueva temporada un mes después de terminar la anterior. Eso no va a funcionar.
There's too much work to be done to then turn around and restart a new season a month after you finish the old one. That's not going to work.
Y por otro lado, sin importar si la NBA pueda terminar esta temporada o no, es que a día de hoy no hay vacuna. No la hay. No sabemos si llegará a una, pero a día de hoy no la hay. Y hay un miedo real en los Estados Unidos, e imagino que también en vuestro país, a que haya un rebrote al mismo tiempo que la gripe. Y esa va a ser una gran prueba para nuestro sistema médico. Va a ser muy serio. Así que sería muy inteligente desde la perspectiva de la NBA no tratar de empezar una nueva temporada coincidiendo con eso. Esperar hasta Navidad o enero, cuando los hospitales estén más preparados. Enero y febrero son meses terribles de gripe en Estados Unidos. Tener un poco más de tiempo para prepararse tiene sentido.
Big and bad test for our medical system. It's going to be very serious, and so it would just be wise from an NBA perspective to not be trying to start a new season and have that get messed up because of the sort of the double spread there of these two, seasonal viruses. So waiting until Christmas or New Year, something like that, when hospitals are able to at least understand what this looks like and prepare for it. January and February are terrible months for the flu here in the United States, but just being able to have a little bit more time to prepare for that makes sense.
Veremos a ver qué sucede con la temporada. Hablemos de Cleveland, hablaremos de Lebron después. ¿Cómo ves estos nuevos Cavs? ¿Qué esperas del futuro del equipo? Cavs, what are you expecting there for the future of the team?
Well, I don't have any expectations for them. They're trying to totally rebuild.
Bueno, no tengo expectativas con ellos. Están tratando de reconstruir la franquicia por completo tras la marcha de LeBron a los Lakers hace ya 2 temporadas. Estas 2 primeras temporadas sin LeBron han sido desastrosas. No hay duda de ello. Muy pocas cosas positivas. Puedes contar con los dedos de una mano las cosas positivas que han pasado desde que se fue LeBron.
That have happened since LeBron left.
Creo que se puede estar razonablemente contento con el desarrollo de Colin Sexton y a dónde se dirijan ahora aún está por ver. Hicieron el traspaso para conseguir a Andre Drummond sin dar nada a cambio. Tiene una opción de jugador por mucho dinero y sería raro que no la ejerciera dado el clima actual, no solo por la enfermedad, sino por cómo el baloncesto está evolucionando alejándose de los pivots.
He's got a player option for a bunch of money. It would be unfathomable really for him to turn that down given the current climate with uncertainty related to the disease and then also just how basketball is kind of moving away from centers.
Sería interesante ver un año de Drummond y Kevin Love jugando juntos si se quedan con Kevin. Él estuvo a disgusto la mayor parte del año, ahora parece que está un poco mejor y parece que están contentos con JB Bickerstaff, que entrenó al equipo 11 partidos antes de que la temporada fuera suspendida. Es difícil decir que tenga alguna expectativa para ellos, no quiero decir que estén en ascenso. Han apagado algunos de los incendios que tenían en el tejado ardiendo y creo que sería inteligente moderar cualquier tipo de entusiasmo que pueda haber.
I don't want to say that they are trending up. I think they put out some of the fires on their roof that was burning, but let's, I think that it would be wise at this point to temper any enthusiasm.
And we have to talk about y tenemos que hablar de LeBron. Joe, tengo que salir del armario. ¿Cómo decirlo de una manera suave? Digamos que no soy el mayor fan de LeBron James, así que sabiendo eso, puedes ser tan duro como desees conmigo en tus respuestas. Vale. Vimos a LeBron crecer con los Cavs, llevarlos a unas finales, luego le vimos irse con The Decision y todo el odio que dejó en Ohio. Le vimos volver, conseguir por fin el campeonato allí y entonces se marchó otra vez. ¿Cómo se le ve ahora en Cleveland? Now.
Yeah, I think it's a much more positive view of LeBron now, and simply it's because...
Creo que se le ve de una manera más positiva a LeBron ahora, simplemente porque ganó un campeonato para la ciudad. Ningún equipo profesional de Cleveland había ganado uno desde 1964, antes de que los Cavs lo hicieran en 2016. No hay nada que se pueda decir en contra de cómo jugó LeBron aquí durante su segunda etapa. Esas 4 temporadas fue fantástico casi todo el tiempo. Su última temporada aquí en 2018 jugó literalmente todos y cada uno de los partidos de los Cavs en liga regular y en postemporada, para un total de 104 partidos.
En 2018, he played in literally every single game the Cavs had, both regular and postseason. That counts to 104 games.
Jugó a nivel MVP el último mes y medio después de que la gerencia traspasara la mitad de la plantilla. Metió 2 tiros ganadores en los playoffs, jugó todos los minutos del 7º partido de las finales de la conferencia este para ganarle a los Celtics y llevar a los Cavs a otras finales. Ese equipo de los Cavs no era muy bueno, no pintaba nada en las finales y él los llevó hasta allí antes de que todo se acabara. Creo que hay más aprecio por LeBron ahora que cuando se fue la primera vez. Además, se ha acercado a la comunidad en el noroeste de Ohio. Tiene unas iniciativas educativas en su ciudad, que está a 1 hora al sur de Cleveland. Creo que la gente sigue estando un poco molesta, pero también le entiende y desde luego se ha ido de mejor manera esta vez.
Here in Northeast Ohio, he's got some education initiatives in his hometown, which is about an hour south of Cleveland. That really have endeared him to the public at large. I think people were still upset to some degree, but much more understanding, and he certainly left on better terms this time.
Lo que está claro es que James ha cambiado el juego de una manera. Los jugadores ahora quieren jugar y ganar con sus rivales en lugar de querer hacerlo contra sus rivales. En términos de legado, ¿crees que dentro de 20 años James o Durant, por ejemplo, serán vistos como vemos a Kobe, Duncan, Jordan, Magic, Bird, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird?
Well, I would put LeBron ahead of all those guys.
Bueno, yo pondría a LeBron por delante de todos estos tíos. No sé si Durant encaja ahí, aunque probablemente sí al final de la lista. Creo que cuando sitúas a LeBron lo tienes que hacer a la misma altura o quizás 1 centímetro por detrás de otro tío, y ese tío es Michael Jordan. LeBron es el único jugador en la historia en la NBA en llevar a 2 equipos a 4 finales consecutivas. Es el único que ha hecho eso. Es el primer jugador desde Bill Russell en los 60 en jugar 8 finales consecutivas. Ni siquiera Michael pudo hacer eso. Y sí, su récord en finales no es el que desearías. No se puede comparar con el de Michael o el de Kobe, pero las circunstancias fueron distintas.
Bill Russell's Celtics in the 1960s to go to 8 straight finals at all. And that's LeBron. I mean, not even Michael could do that. And yes, the finals record is not what you would hope. Certainly, it doesn't compare to Michael's or to Kobe's. But circumstances.
Creo que hay argumentos para defenderle en todas sus derrotas, excepto el año que perdieron contra Dallas en su primera temporada en Miami. La manera en la que jugó la liga regular simplemente es imparable. Creo que es una conversación entre dos personas.
That one's a black mark. Otherwise, it's all there. And the way he's played in regular seasons. He's just unstoppable in almost every way, shape, and form. And I just think it's a two-person conversation when it comes to LeBron.
Bueno, yo no estoy de acuerdo. Agree with that. I hear. Me he dado cuenta. No es mi jugador favorito, pero creo que Michael Jordan es el mejor y hay un espacio muy grande entre él y el siguiente. Y después, mi jugador favorito, Magic Johnson, estaría ahí. Pero yendo a los números, si miramos series ganadas contra equipos de más de 50 victorias, vemos que Kobe ganó 24, Jordan 20, Duncan 18, Magic 13, Bird 10 y James 9. Kobe won 24. No es que vaya a decir que LeBron James es un mal jugador, pero la conferencia este en los años de LeBron James no era tan buena como la oeste o la este en los 80 o los 90. Esto enlaza con la siguiente pregunta que te iba a decir. En esta era de las redes sociales todo tiene que ser blanco o negro. Si no dices que LeBron es el GOAT, es como si dijeras que es un jugador de mierda. Mi principal problema con LeBron no es con LeBron, es con sus seguidores más hardcore, a los que yo llamo LeBroniers, que he leído que en Estados Unidos se le llama Bronsexuals. Todo el mérito es para LeBron, que está jugando solo con jugadores de mierda. Y, a ver, que es un gran jugador, que ha mejorado mucho y yo le reconozco la mejoría que ha realizado en su juego. Pero hay más jugadores. Ha jugado con All-Stars, con Hall of Famers. Parece que hay que ir de un extremo al otro. The GOAT is like you are saying that he's a shitty player. And if you... My main problem with LeBron is not with LeBron, is with his hardcore fans, what I call LeBroniers. I read that in the US they call them bronsexuals. It's like all the credit is on LeBron, and he's like playing along with all that shitty players and all his merit. That kinds of is like. Okay, he's a huge player. He improved a lot, and I recognize all the improvement he made in his game. But there are other players playing with him, also All-Stars, also Hall of Famers, and it seems that we have to go into one extreme to the other.
Well, I think I think a lot of that stems from his last year here. And I think again,
bueno, creo que mucho de eso viene de su último año aquí. Creo que hay que mirar la plantilla cuando llegaron a los playoffs. Hablamos de Larry Nance Jr., de Jordan Clarkson, Rodney Hood, Jeff Green. Sí, estaba Kevin Love en el equipo, pero era el único que era All-Star. No había nadie más en la plantilla que pudieras considerar grande. Grande de verdad. Y tienes que mirar lo que tenía alrededor sus 7 primeros años en Cleveland antes de irse a Miami. El equipo que llevó a las finales en 2007 directamente no los tenía. Tíos que tenían que haber estado fuera de la liga desde hacía años. Así que creo que esa narrativa viene de ahí. Y sí, creo que los medios y los fans pueden ir por ese discurso y valorar erróneamente a sus compañeros.
True greatness. And then you have to look at what he had around him his first 11 years. I can't even remember now. Or no, his first 7 years in Cleveland before he left for Miami. I mean, that team that he took to the finals in 2007 just didn't have it. I mean, they did not have anybody. I mean, guys that are, have been out of the league for years that were on that team. And so I think that's where that narrative comes from. And yes, there are times.
Pero luego miras a las finales de 2015 contra los Warriors y Kevin Love estaba lesionado desde primera ronda, Kyrie Irving se rompió la rodilla en el primer partido y desde ese momento LeBron, básicamente con gente como Mozgov y de la Vedova, llevó a los Warriors a 6 partidos. Esa serie estuvo en el cuarto partido. Pudo haber ido a un lado o al otro. Y LeBron no tenía el apoyo que tenían los Warriors. Y el otro día hablaba esto con un amigo que me decía que Michael Jordan es mucho mejor que LeBron James. Yo creo que LeBron es un jugador superior, pero que los intangibles de Michael son los que le ponen por delante de LeBron. Pero no soy apasionado con este tema. Puedo defender a LeBron porque le he cubierto durante toda mi carrera. Pero sí, puedes centrarte en el récord. Hablabas antes de las victorias contra equipos con buenos récords, asociándolo a que sus rivales de playoff fueron débiles. Que su camino a las finales no fue tan duro para él. Pero lograrlo todos los años no tiene precedentes. Y sí, el récord de las finales es malo. 3-5 es malo.
I'm actually not. I believe personally that LeBron is the superior player, but it was Michael's intangibles that kind of that makes him ahead of LeBron. But I'm not passionate about it. I can make the case for LeBron because I've spent my career covering him. But yeah, I mean, you can poke holes in the record, and I mean, you're talking about wins against teams with good records. So I mean, what's that tell you? That his playoff opponents are weak. That the road to the finals is was not crowded for him, but I mean, to make it each and every year, I mean, it's unprecedented. And then the finals record itself is bad. I mean, 3-5 is bad.
3-6. 3-6.
That's something they have to deal with, for sure.
3-6, ¿eh?
Is it 3-6 now?
¿Es 3-6? Ah, sí, claro. 8 finales consecutivas y la de 2007. Es cierto, 3-6. Es un mal récord. ¿Es así?
That's right, yeah, 3-6. That's bad. Sure is.
Now he's in LA, LeBron. Él ahora está en Los Ángeles, tiene 35 años, le quedan 3 temporadas de contrato. ¿Crees que se va a retirar, va a terminar su carrera allí? Y Repolete, uno de nuestros seguidores, quiere saber si piensas que va a jugar con Bronny en la NBA y si piensas que Bronny jugará en la NCAA o directamente a un nivel profesional con su padre.
This guy must be a preferred customer to be able to get in all those questions. Okay, so who knows?
Dios mío, este tío tiene que ser un oyente preferente para poderme hacer todas esas preguntas. ¿Quién sabe? Voy a seguir diciendo lo que llevo diciendo un tiempo, y es que creo que LeBron va a terminar su carrera en Los Ángeles. La familia adora estar allí, adoran cada parte de estar en Los Ángeles. LeBron ha abrazado la idea de ser un Laker. Y sí, tiene deseos de jugar algún día con su hijo, pero tienen que pasar muchas cosas para eso.
But a lot has to kind of happen for that.
Eso incluye que LeBron Jr. sea drafteado para la NBA después de un año, y esa regla puede cambiar antes de que le toque, pero Jr. tiene que ser lo suficientemente bueno, y no sé si lo es. No digo que no lo sea. Sé que era su primer año en el instituto y salía del banquillo. Estaba en un buen equipo, pero ni siquiera era titular.
I'm not saying that he isn't. I know that he was a freshman in high school this year, so that for your listeners, that means that was his first year in high school, and I know he came off the bench. He was on a good team. It's true, but he wasn't even a starter, and I think there were some minor questions about his game.
Y creo que hay algunas cuestiones menores sobre su juego. ¿Es un buen jugador? Sí, sin duda lo es. ¿Tiene los genes supremos para crecer, tener un gran cuerpo, ser muy atlético, llegar a un nivel muy alto? Sí, los tiene. Es posible que pase y llegue en grandes cosas para LeBron Jr., pero ¿y si no crece? ¿Y si lleva los genes de su madre que no es tan alta? Entonces es un buen jugador, pero con menos habilidades que otros exteriores de nivel élite.
The height genes of his mom, who's not as tall. Then he's a good player, but with skills that might be a little bit behind.
Creo que tiene que pasar aún muchas cosas. Creo que toda la excitación que había acerca de Bronny Jr. yendo directamente a la NBA se ha templado. Y se ha templado desde la familia, lo que yo valoro. Solían hablar de ello antes de que llegara al instituto, y desde que ha llegado al instituto ya solo dicen dejemos al chaval ser un chaval de instituto, hacer los deberes, ser un buen hermano y ya veremos.
They're saying let's let him be a high school kid and let's just let him be a good brother and get his homework done and we'll see.
Creo que hacen bien con eso. Creo que todos los hijos de los jugadores en NBA tienen más presión y más ojos sobre ellos. Y en el caso del hijo de LeBron va a ser una presión enorme sobre él. The son of LeBron James is going to be a huge pressure on him.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. Huge pressure.
Sí, creo que eso es absolutamente verdad, una enorme presión. El equipo de Bronny, él va al instituto en Los Ángeles, obviamente, jugó contra el equipo del instituto de su padre en Columbus, Ohio. LeBron fue al instituto a un colegio privado en Akron, y ese equipo fue a Columbus, que está a 2 horas al sur de Cleveland. El pabellón estaba lleno. LeBron voló desde Miami, donde había jugado los Lakers la noche anterior para ver el partido, y obviamente la presión sobre Bronny era increíble. Y ese es solo uno de los ejemplos por los que tienen que tener tanto cuidado con él para hacerlo bien.
LeBron flew up from Miami, where the Lakers had played the night before, to watch the game, and just the obvious pressure that Bronny would be under was just incredible, and yeah, I mean it really was, and so they I think that is just one of many examples as to why they would be so careful with him to do this right.
Just to end, I want to ask you about Kyrie Irving. Para terminar, quería preguntarte por Kyrie Irving. Tú también viste a Kyrie muchos años ahí en Cleveland, y yo siempre he pensado que era el tío con más talento en la conferencia pero después del verano de 2016 él cambió. Todos sabemos cómo dejó los Cavs, sus, digamos, extrañas temporadas en Boston, cómo dejó los Celtics y todo lo que ha pasado en Brooklyn esta temporada. Yo tengo una teoría basada en 0 hechos y en no conocer a Irving de nada. Creo que algo cambió en Kyrie en 2016 después de que metiera ese triple que le dio el anillo a los Cavs y que todo el mérito fuera a parar a LeBron James y su tapón. Dime, Joe, ¿cómo de loco estoy? Then all the people get the credit to LeBron and his block. Tell me, Joe, how crazy am I?
Pretty crazy, but you've been showing that to me throughout this entire interview. No, I think listen.
Bastante loco, pero me lo has demostrado durante toda la entrevista. No, mira, para ser sincero, y ya lo he dicho antes, y con todo el respeto para LeBron, Kyrie es mi jugador favorito para verlo con la pelota en las manos, de toda la NBA. Y no creo que... seguramente incluso si le preguntas a él, en términos de mérito sobre lo que pasó en 2016, él sabe que todo el mundo le da el mérito por el mejor tiro en la historia de la franquicia, de los Cavs. No solo eso, sino uno de los mejores tiros en la historia de la NBA. Él lo sabe.
In Cavaliers history, but one of the absolute greatest shots in NBA history. Mm-hmm. He knows that, and he is why.
Y se le da mucho mérito por ello. No fue tanto eso como todas las otras maneras en las que LeBron le eclipsaba. Lo que realmente le molestaba. La manera en la que los medios se centraban en torno a LeBron para hablar de otras cosas que pasaban en el equipo, donde LeBron era una especie de portavoz, y eso a Kyrie le molestaba. Y también le molestaba que cuando algo pasaba fuera de los Cavs, fuera de la NBA, fuera de los deportes, algo político, por ejemplo, todos íbamos a LeBron para hablar con él de ello, y Kyrie sentía que él también tenía algo que decir.
The Cavs, outside of the NBA, outside of sports, something political. We would all go to LeBron to talk to him about it, and Kyrie just felt like he should have had a say too. He felt that LeBron had too much sway over some hirings.
Pensaba que LeBron tenía demasiado peso en las decisiones de la franquicia respecto a contrataciones en la organización de los Cavs y en cómo se gestionaba el equipo, y simplemente quería escapar de ello. No creo que Kyrie quisiese alejarse de LeBron. No creo que eso tuviera nada que ver con lo que pasó en 2016. Tuvo que ver con todas esas otras cosas. Y tenemos que ser sinceros. También tuvo que ver la manera en la que LeBron le trató.
Or the way that Kyrie felt LeBron treated him.
O la manera en la que Kyrie sintió que LeBron le trató. No estuvo bien. esa relación no fue buena, tuvieron sus roces. LeBron tiene su versión, y es que Kyrie es un tío difícil, y Kyrie, de hecho, pidió perdón la temporada pasada por la manera en la que se comportó. Así que quizás LeBron tuviera razón, pero en aquel momento había fricciones y Kyrie decidió que ya era suficiente.
There was some friction there, and Kyrie had just decided he'd had enough.
Sometimes we forget that the players are not just athletes. A veces nos olvidamos de que los jugadores no son solo atletas, sino que también son personas. Tienen sus necesidades, sus miedos, sus inseguridades. Y en el último episodio de Tampering, Sam y tú hablasteis con Rich Kleiman, hablasteis de Kevin Durant, y hay algo también de eso en Durant. Estoy esperando que me llegue The Victory Machine, el libro de Ethan Strauss, también de The Athletic, y hay algo también de eso en esos Warriors. I'm waiting for The Victory Machine, the book from Ethan Strauss, from The Athletic too, and there's also something about that in those Warriors.
Yeah, I think so. I think that it is hard.
Sí, eso creo. Creo que es difícil, especialmente en esta época. No sé cuántos de vosotros estáis viendo el documental de The Last Dance. Lo tenéis en Netflix.
Watching this documentary about the Chicago Bulls called The Last Dance.
Everybody.
I know it's on Netflix.
Everybody. Todo el mundo.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's all we're watching here in the United States.
Sí, aquí en Estados Unidos todos lo estamos viendo. Y vemos que incluso entonces, antes de que hubiera nada similar a las redes sociales, vemos lo duro que es y cómo desgasta ser tan bueno durante tanto tiempo. Michael se tuvo que retirar 2 veces. 2 veces, ya.
Over this. Just 3 times going to the finals.
Por esto, solo 3 veces seguidas en las finales, demasiada presión. Discútemelo. El documental te muestra cómo de agotado estaba al final de esos 3 años. En el caso de los Warriors fueron 5 años, 3 con Durant, pero al final querían matarse unos a otros. Y es así. Podrías decir que hubo algo de eso en Cleveland también. Y eso es lo que creo que hace que sea tan destacable que LeBron haya jugado 8 finales seguidas, que fuera capaz de soportar esa presión durante 8 años consecutivos. Pero sí, es algo duro de conseguir y los Warriors lo notaron también.
What LeBron has done so remarkable about making 8 straight finals, that he was able to endure that pressure for 8 consecutive years. But yeah, it's a hard thing to do, and certainly the Warriors felt that as well.
Casi conseguimos hacer toda la entrevista sin hablar de The Last Dance. Todo el mundo habla de ello. Es un gran documental y estamos esperando el final la semana que viene. Everybody is talking about it. It's a great documentary. And we are waiting for the end. Muchas gracias, Joe. Te he robado 10 minutos más de lo que habíamos hablado. Perdona por eso. Espero que hayas estado a gusto y esta es tu casa. Sorry for that. I hope you were comfortable and this is your house.
Oh yeah, this was great.
Sí, estuvo genial. Me lo he pasado muy bien. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Gracias a ti. Ahí teníais la entrevista con Joe Vardon de The Athletic, en esta ocasión doblada, para que la disfrutéis tanto en versión original como en la versión doblada. Os pido ya disculpas de nuevo por mi patético nivel de inglés, pero bueno, es lo que hay y con esas armas tenemos que ir a la guerra. Espero que os haya gustado. Cosas muy interesantes las que comenta Joe Vardon, sobre todo ese comentario final sobre Kyrie Irving, los motivos que pudieron llevar a su marcha y al cambio que hemos visto en ese jugador. Volvemos el lunes que viene, lo haremos con Rubén Ibeas, comentarista de NFL de Movistar Plus y exjugador de baloncesto profesional, gran aficionado a la NBA. Con él charlaremos un poquito de todo. Ya sabéis que cada vez que se acerca alguien de la NFL, por aquí nos tiramos al barro, sobre todo a Dani, que le encanta. Esperemos tener a Dani que se mejore. Muchísimas gracias a todos por estar ahí, todos los que nos escucháis, ya sea vía iVoox, Apple Podcast, Spotify o YouTube. Volvemos lunes, pasar la mejor de las semanas posibles. At the end of the game, you gotta get it out of his hands.